one of the world's largest and most violent empires. Which began with democracy. Culminated in dictatorship. And ruled over a quarter of the world's population for centuries. The fall of the great Roman Empire was not just an event, but a process that began years ago. But what factors were involved in the collapse process? Attila's wild tribal attacks? Numerous wars to open up the country?
Come on, man!
Large taxes and people's dissatisfaction? Class differences and the deprivation of the lower strata of society of government positions. Or maybe there are other reasons besides them. Can plague and worldliness be another reason? Anthony's Plague. Anthony's Plague is also known as Galen's Plague. Galen was one of the most famous physicians of ancient Greece, who also lived in Rome. Among the physicians of antiquity, each of whom was unique in his time, Galen was known as the eighth physician after Hippocrates. He is the last great physician who has not only not reached the foundation of his knowledge, but has not even come close. Maulana, the great Iranian poet, centuries later, he said this in his Masnavi. That's what Galen said. Anthony's Plague is a worldview between 165 and 180 AD, killing 1/4 of the population, leaving 5 million dead. The Romans considered the plague revenge on Apollo, after stealing from one of his temples. But the reality was different. In one of the raids of the Huns, one of Rome's most formidable enemies, which first spread among the wild Huns, spread to Roman soldiers and then spread throughout Europe. The prevalence was so high that it soon reached the authorities, killing John Emperor Lucius Verus in 169. And John Emperor Marcus Aurelius in 180 AD. Both emperors were from the Antonian dynasty, which is probably why the plague was called Antonian. From the Antonian dynasty, 7 emperors ruled Rome. 2 empires killed by the plague, the 5th and 6th emperors. The 7th emperor Commodus, because of his illusions and misbehavior, he was assassinated in his palace and killed by suffocation. Since then, none of Antonio's descendants have become emperors. It is said that at the height of the second outbreak of the same plague, it happened in the Caucasus between 251 and 266. and 5,000 people died every day. But the plague was not going to go away. In 331, Constantine I was emperor of Rome. At that time, Rome was weakened for several reasons. Constantine had done a lot to bring back Rome, which was declining, to its greatness. And in this way he was very close. But suddenly something happened that prevented Rome from surviving the decline. Still plague, but this time Constantine's plague. The plague, which first spread to Egypt and especially Alexandria, spread to the Levant and then to central Rome. And it overshadowed the empire so much that it not only disrupted all of Constantine's reform programs, rather, they dismantled Rome's shaky economy. Popular uprisings intensified. Constantine succeeded in suppressing the revolts. But there is a way to be free. The plague that caused so much trouble in society. It affected the morale of the people so much. People considered these calamities a heavenly torment. And they were more inclined to the newly spread religion of Christianity. Emperor Constantine, in a decree known as the Order of Milan, he forbade any persecution of Christians. In addition, he himself accepted that religion. Christianity was also declared the official religion of Rome. Analysts have offered different interpretations. Most historians believe Constantine converted to Christianity for political reasons, to establish a link between his non-religious government and the people who had recently converted to this religion, to prevent the fall of Rome. Christianity first spread to Rome and then throughout Europe. About 2.5 billion of the world's 5.7 billion people are now Christians. Rome did not fall at that time, but in 395 AD it was divided into eastern and western parts. Eastern Rome or Byzantium to the center of Constantinople, and Western Rome was divided into the center of the Italian city. In less than a century, the Western Roman Empire officially disappeared in 476. Historians call the extinction of Western Rome the end of antiquity and the beginning of the Middle Ages. The beginning of the Middle Ages means the beginning of the power of the Church. But the fate of Eastern Rome was not much better than that of Western Rome. The Crusades began in 1905 and lasted until 1291. The beginning of the Crusades at the invitation of the European kings of the Pope. Apparently it was for the recapture of the Holy Land from the Muslims. But in fact at the request of the Byzantine Empire. It was to prevent the advance of the Ottoman Turks. But not only did they not achieve the goal they set, they were also divided into the Republic of Venice and the Crusaders, and finally officially fell to the Ottoman government in 1453.